Have you ever wanted to go on a heartfelt journey in the lives of your loved ones and newfound acquaintances? Do you enjoy listening and engaging in uplifting discussions that leave you motivated and inspired to take action in your own life? This podcast is a space where we have in-depth conversations on family, health, spirituality, entrepreneurship, and well, just plain old life. I'm Jesse DeLeon, and this is my passion. Join me on a walk into the fascinating narratives and meaningful conversations that shape our experiences. Welcome to The Knowing, a Life and Stories podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Knowing, a Life and Stories. Today's topic is going to be on understanding. I want to read you a couple of definitions. One, the Oxford Dictionary's definition of understanding is the ability to understand something, comprehension, foreign visitors with the understanding of English. Now, the biblical understanding of the meaning of understanding is to understand, to gain insight into something. It can designate a positive quality, as when the scribe concurred with Jesus about loving the Lord with all your understanding. And in Paul's prayer for the Colossians, where he couples it with spiritual understanding. So I believe it's important to apply both meanings. I believe they're one and the same. And I want to start off with a story that happened last Saturday. I had a friend visiting from Little Rock. His name is Ashton, a good friend of mine. He's the son of a very good friend of mine. And we've become very, very close friends. In fact, he's young enough to be my son, but he's mature in spirit to be one of my dear friends. And I'm so happy to be able to call him my friend. He called and let me know that he was coming to New Orleans just for one night. They were going to be here on Friday for a basketball game, and then they were driving back. He and his friends, two of his friends, Brock and Jordan, who I'd never met. So I was excited to meet them, and any friend of Ashton, I know I would love. So we got together after I went to Mass on Saturday morning. And what I really loved about this was how important it was to Ashton to get together with me. He said, I'm not coming to New Orleans without seeing you. So I want to make this happen. And that made me feel really, really good, is knowing and understanding the value by which he placed on making sure that we got to be together and that I got to meet his friends. Well, I met his friends at breakfast, and instantly I liked them. And I want to say why understanding important in this context. Well, you know what? As you all know, I'm Catholic, and Ashton and his friends, Jordan and Brock, they're Pentecostal. And I didn't really know much about the Pentecostal faith. And I'm sure that they don't know much about the Catholic faith. But you know what was so beautiful is, despite our differences in our background, our spiritual background, we had so much in common. Both Brock and Jordan both grew up on a farm, to which I grew up on a farm. Jordan grew up on a horse farm mostly, and then Brock, they had cattle. Well, we had cattle, horses, and produce. So we grew a lot of vegetables and sold them to produce companies, both in Mississippi and in New Orleans. And we sat there for 2 hours. It went by so quickly. It was as though time just sped up. And because we were having such a great time and getting to know one another. And now I have two new great friends. And again, what's interesting is they're all in their late 20s, early 30s. Brock and Jordan are married and have each, I believe, have 2 children each. And they were just delightful. And instantly they became my brothers. And I posted a picture of us on my stories in Instagram, where I titled it, or the caption read, Bros and Brothers. Maybe I should have said brunch with the bros. But anyway, it really felt like we were brothers, we were really bros. And, I grew up with 5 sisters and 4 brothers, as you all know. And there were many times that I was closer to my sisters than I was to my brothers. And closer to my brothers than I was to my sisters. So I kind of grew up with this both feminine and masculine energy. And as I became to know and understand Jesus more, I began to understand that Jesus was both masculine and feminine. He was both our father and our mother, and loved us in the way that a mother loves. So he understands both the love of a father and a mother. And why is understanding so important? Because we're all in relationships. We're all in friendships. Some of us are married. Some of us have lifelong friendships. Some of us are cultivating new friendships. And it's very important to understand ourselves so that we can better understand others. And in our relationships, we can be compassionate and be wise enough that when we don't understand one another, that when we're not communicating well with one another, how important it is just to stop, take a deep breath, take another one if you need it, especially when the situation is heightened, so that we don't say or do anything we don't mean to say or do, and something that we're going to regret and feel guilt and shame for later. How often have I done that? Just opened my mouth and just my tongue just lashed out, and then it became a weapon to the people that I love. And the tongue can also be a tool for expressing love. Let us have that understanding and compassion for one another, that we use our tongue for the good and not to tear each other down, not to intimidate the other, not to manipulate one another, not to insult one another, but rather to lift each other up and have each other's back. Times are interesting and evolving and ever changing. And I know that we say today, oh, things are tough. Things are rough. What's going on in the world? But if you look back at history, you look back at the Great Depression, you look back at when the atomic bomb was set off in Japan, you look back at the time when Hitler was in power, and you look back at the time when the monarchy was had such power that they forgot who they were serving. They were meant to serve the Lord first, and then to serve and care for their kingdom, right? But somehow in our humanity, and it's okay, we have forgotten that. But how important is it that we forgive ourselves and let's move forward. Let's forge forward. It's important to yes, look back at history so that we reflect and we learn from it, and that we move in the present with that knowing and understanding, so that we don't repeat the things that we don't want to repeat again, the things that have hurt us, have hurt others. And then let's look forward to the future with an understanding that we may not know what's coming, but if we put our trust in the Lord and we put faith and trust in our understanding of the Lord and of one another, then I feel that we can really grow. And in these times that seem a bit uncertain, we don't have to feel so discombobulated, out of sorts. And I've been feeling a little out of sorts the past week. And one of my sweet and dear client and friends, Sarah Young, brought me a bouquet of flowers, fresh flowers. It just lit up my day. And I can tell you this, when she or Michelle Carrere, another great friend of mine, brings me flowers, I understand the meaning there. Again, the word understand, right? I understand why it's so important when you take the time to just do something so kind and so sweet and so simple as to bring someone a flower or a bouquet of flowers. And it just meant so much to me. It lit up my day. It made my week. It helped me to get out of that funk that I felt last week. And Sarah said, Jesse, I was a little concerned. I didn't hear back from you right away. And usually you get back to me right away. And I knew something wasn't right. And I just wanted to bring you this gift. And I said, it's I who should bring you a gift. Wow. She was understanding me in such a way that she loved me through my inequity, my lack of showing her that I respected her by not returning her call when I should have returned her call or a text. I was on the tennis court after that brunch with my bros, and it sounds kind of weird, with my brothers. And I was really frustrated because I think I was taking everything out of the week, that week prior, on the game, on the racket. And my tennis coach said, Jesse, what is up with you? I feel your uptight tension. I said, guess what? I've always been uptight. I was an uptight kid. I mean, I wore a suit to collect my report card from the first grade with a tie. Who does that? But I did. It was just, I always wanted people to take me seriously and to try to, I guess I'd hope that they might understand where I was coming from. And how could they? I didn't understand where I was coming from. I just thought I had to be who I was told I had to be, all meant from love, right? And in the middle of wanting to throw the tennis court across the court, I understood what John McEnroe, why he did that. I'm like, why is that lunatic doing that? Well, I felt like I was going to be a lunatic. And when my coach said that to me, I all of a sudden felt the Spirit say to you, who do you think you are? Why are you so angry? You're missing the point. It's not about hitting the ball correctly, stroking the ball properly. It's not about the right swing or the steps that you need to take to get to the ball or let the ball get to you by taking steps back. It's about the process. It's about the discipline. And when we understand that life is a discipline, and that doesn't mean rigidity, that let's not get that confused with being uptight, but life is a process that's meant to be lived in, that's meant to be learned from, that's meant to be present with. So that's what I want to leave you with the understanding of what life is really meant to be about. I want to also remind you, and I keep wanting to remind you, and I forget to do this, but if there's an episode that you enjoy or that really touches your spirit, please share it. That's what this podcast is all about. It's about connectivity. It's about friendship. It's about understanding. It's about love. And it's about bringing peace like into our lives, in and around our lives. So with that, I'm going to say, I am truly always praying for you all. And I truly bring you to the altar with me every day in prayer. I bring your struggles to the Lord and ask that he come into our hearts and pour his pure love into our wounds. And believe me, let's understand that we all have wounds and only the Lord can heal that for us. But we have to do our part too. So until next time, have a beautiful week. And I look forward to seeing you again or in here and talking to you again. Have a great one.